And just to sort of define too what neocolonialism is, because we mentioned it, and we kind of assume that people understand. But neocolonialism also is, in a sense, in essence, white power and blackface, right? So I think a good way to understand it too is like after a lot of African countries gained their independence, there was this idea that okay, now we have a first black president, we have all these black governments that are supposed to really lead the liberation of Africans, really become this embodiment of what a free Africa will look like post-colonialism. Obviously, we know that that has totally failed because the logic of colonialism continued through neocolonialism, through the fact that all of these presidents and prime ministers that were in power, even if they might have sounded revolutionary in the beginning, the what we see through them is the power of Europe working through them. If Africa was truly liberated from Europe in a really profound way, in a really materialistic way, in a political and economic way. And we understand that the party of the political and economic are one, right? You cannot have political freedom without economic freedom and vice versa. If that's the case, you could look at any sort of economic data that's out there now will show you, okay, what kind of things are, African states producing and what are they exporting, right? And then what are the things that Europe is producing and exporting. And every single time you see that data going back to when they began collecting this data, right? But maybe like by this around the 60s, is that Africans to this day are still producing raw materials or the things that don't require what they will say skilled labor. So it's not turned into finished goods. So for example, I always use Ethiopia as an example, but Ethiopia, for example, I think about 40 to 50% of the exports that we still do is coffee, and then other crops, right? You could look at places like Namibia. Namibia still exports, I believe, either gold or diamond, and these are again from the mines. And then we have the Congo too, who exports a lot of coltan. And then when you go up to like Nigeria, it's all oil. I mean, Nigeria is actually like I think in the 90% crude oil. Right, like it's all of it is just oil economy. So what that does is it's reinforcing the colonial economy that was established under when colonial attack happened, is that you're locking African people into exporting these raw materials